Really, the only thing you'd need is Christians to live as Christians are commanded to live, instead of, focusing on, well, how am I going to live a comfortable life? How am I going to stay in my comfort zone? How am I lots of Christians just focus on getting a big house and living a comfortable life and not having anyone mess up things for them. And they think witnessing to Muslims or bringing a former Muslim into the household might mess things up and make life more difficult. Well, we're not supposed to look for the easy way as Christians. We're supposed to do what needs to be done, even if it is difficult. And to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, Gandhi. So this is from a Hindu background, but Gandhi said, this is during a time when there were Christians in the military who were in India. And Gandhi actually read the Gospels. So he read the New Testament. And he said that if Christians would live as they're commanded to live, if they would show the kind of love that Jesus Christ commands them to show, he said all of India would be Christian today. So here you have not even a Christian saying this, not me saying this. This is Gandhi, one of the great religious leaders of the 20th century, speaking from a Hindu background, saying if you Christians would just be good Christians, almost a billion Hindus would convert to Christianity, because if they saw how you live. But it's just rare. It's rare for someone to take Christianity seriously. I mean, there's lots of Christianity, but compared to the number of Christians, compared to the number of people in the United States who consider themselves Christians, the very small number who are actually willing to go out and obey the commands of Jesus Christ.
Thank you, David. Mohran, I'm going to ask you the last moments of the program, the same question. What is going to take the church to rise up and to begin really, we are like distracted with many programs in the churches and here and there. What's it going to take to wake up the church? Because this is the challenge of the age that we are living in, Islam, and how we can reach out to them from your perspective.
That's a million-dollar question there. But I want to tell you this, in year 1979, there were only about 5,000 confessing Christians in Iran. This last year, Iranian Census Bureau did a survey, and they've come up with almost 5 million Christians in Iran.
Just without evangelism, or how
this
they
is
knew?
This is because persecution brought about Muslims becoming Christians. When the church went underground, after Shah Church was forced to go underground,
yes,
it grew. It grew from 5,000 to 5 million.
Yes,
right. And one of the reasons was because when they were persecuted, the church, as David mentioned, very, very great point. Christians in America are gotten so comfortable that they want their home, their car. They don't want to be,
bothered with
out of their comfort zone. When that happened in Iran, they were out of the comfort zone, and they failed to reach out because they thought they were going to be put to death.
But the opportunities are here in the United States.
Opportunities are here, but the problem is that I am the church. If I don't reach out personally, if I don't gain, understanding that I've got to reach out, if I don't feel that pulse, then it's not going to matter. It's a personal decision, and then when dozens of people in church feel that way, first of all, they have to know about the Islam and the field. Many Christians tell me we are afraid to approach Muslims because we don't know what to say, and we know that you're going to reject us. We know that it's the hardest religion to reach, and there's no Muslim. Always tell us we don't know anybody who's a Muslim who's born again. That's one of the things. They're afraid. They're afraid to approach.
So fear.
The fear. And that was one of the first things I've noticed. People are afraid. But David mentioned another good point, that Muslims, I love for Christians to challenge me.
Yeah.
I have no problem. As a Muslim, I had no problem to say, yeah, I'll talk to you about Jesus, and I'll talk to you about Jesus you don't know, and I know more about him than you do. However, it's fear, and I think some of the media, especially 911, it has portrayed Muslims as people who just assume to kill you than talk to you about it. But I believe prayer every time I pray for somebody that I don't really like, I get to like him. And after a while, I get to want to see him do better, want to see him saved. I believe if we pray earnestly at churches, spend time in prayer for Muslim people, for their conversion, we will start moving toward that goal. But I see very little prayer and patience. People in America think they're going to put a Muslim in a microwave oven in 30-second, program him and tell him the gospel, and he's going to pop out, come out saved. Well, that's not going to happen with a Muslim. David mentioned another good point. As a child, I was injected with the Antichrist serum. You know, it was just like, you know, I had this thing in me that was anti-Jesus to begin with. So it takes some time. You got to have patience. And you got to live a true Christian life before him. They've got to see an example. Because I was told the Christians are mostly moral blasphemers. And, you know, the women, they dress wrong, and in the church dance around and those kind of things. And true Christian needs to show Muslims that is not absolute true, that Christ holds them more responsible for being more Christ-like than Islam holds Muslims responsible. And of course, never give up. Never give up on a Muslim until they're given the last breath. After that, even after that, you might have a chance. Give it to him if he comes back to life. Who knows?
So it takes a long time, and you don't give up.
Yes.
I mean, continue ministering, continue
Never give
talking
up.
to them. I mean, till God opens their eyes and their hearts to receive Him. David, we are about to close the evening. Do you have any other comments, especially about outreaching to Muslims in the United States of America? Again.
Yes, two points that are related to what we've already said. When we talk about praying for Muslims, as we said, I brought up that people are afraid to witness to Muslims often because they think that Muslims are going to jump on them or beat them up or something like that, or cut their heads off. But we also heard that people are afraid to reach out to Muslims because they don't know what to say. They don't know how to answer the objections of Muslims. They might not know how to respond to Muslim beliefs because they don't know anything about Islam. And so if people are afraid because of that's just laziness right there. If you don't learn about Islam, if you don't witness to Muslims because you don't want to sit down and learn about what Islam teaches in order to respond to it and show them the gospel, that's just laziness. Now I'll say, one, if you watch Jesus or Muhammad regularly, if you watch the program, you'll know how to deal with the responses of Muslims and the objections of Muslims, because Muslims call in with objections all the time and say, show me where Jesus said I'm God, things like that. And we show you how to respond to those things on this program. We show you how to defend the gospel and how to refute the claim that the Quran is the word of God, that Muhammad is a prophet of God. So if you watch this program, you probably have a good idea of how to respond to Muslims. Second, if you take just a few days here and there to learn the basics, to learn some basic responses to Islam, you have nothing to fear from talking to a Muslim. They use the same objections over and over and over again.
Right.
Any Muslim you walk up to, I can tell you right now what an average Muslim is going to say. He's going to say, how can you believe in a book that's a translation of a translation of a translation? There are tons of Bibles. How can you believe that you have the one? Which Bible's the real Bible? They have no clue about how the Bible is transmitted. They have no clue what the Bible is. Any Muslim who says, there are tons of Bibles out there, has no clue what he's talking about. That's just what he's heard. That's what he's heard at his mosque and from other Muslims. Yes. But if you take just a few days here and there, a few hours a day here and there, in fact, if you just take a good solid week to look at some objections of Muslims and how you can defend the gospel, you could learn in a week how to talk to a Muslim. A week's worth of training, you could effectively witness to Muslims. So there's nothing to fear. And if the church doesn't do that, if the church says, if a Christian says, I don't know about Islam, so I'm not going to witness to Muslims, that's just laziness, because it is very easy. It is very easy to learn how to talk to Muslims. So on the one hand, if you're afraid of Muslims because you don't know how to talk to Muslims, that's easy to take care of. That just takes a little bit of training. That just takes a little bit of reading or watching a program like this one. And on the other hand, if you're afraid that Muslims might be violent, well, prayer is the key there. The more you pray for a group, the less afraid you'll be. The more love you have, the more time you spend on your knees praying for a group, the more you love them, the less fear you'll have.